Hello, welcome. My name is Shane O'Donnell. What I want to share with you today is a basic understanding of what I do every Wednesday, midday. And the work that I do, I get to work with business owners, entrepreneurs. And the reason why I love that is because business is a creative game. It requires people to tap into the creative part of our being, and we all have that. We all have that part of us. Business is a spiritual game. You've heard many speakers talk about that, but there are practical methods, practical ways of connecting to your creative state on a deliberate basis, where you can deliberately determine your destiny through the decisions that you make and this state of being that you show up in. As an entrepreneur, as a creator of employment, as a creator of a service that usually improves the lives of others, that's what we're driven by, most entrepreneurs. I mean, people do go into business because they see a financial opportunity. But for the people that last generally are the people that have worked out what they love to do and they provide that service, and that service has value in the marketplace and they get paid for the service they provide. That's when you're living on purpose, when you live in a purpose-driven life. And so as an entrepreneur, two main areas that most entrepreneurs struggle with, not everyone, but most, is lack of money, lack of time. So if that's the case, then really the question is, how do I overcome that? Because entrepreneurs are problem solvers. How do you overcome that? Well, the problem is not in the lack of time. The problem is not in the lack of money. The problem isn't in the lack of the right strategy to get you to where you want to go. That's not where the problem is. The problem lies within every single human being, and that is the operating system that you're operating on, which is what? That's the paradigm. What is a paradigm? A paradigm is the belief system that you operate to. Everyone has a belief system. We develop the bulk of our belief system in our formative years, which is from the age of 0 to 7. When our mind is wide open, it's accepting all the data that's coming in, how your parents interact, how they relate to money, how they relate to work and time and so on. And you're absorbing all of that. And you have nothing to go on other than you don't have a reasoning factor to say, I don't agree with that. So you're just absorbing that. So, and it's practical, you can become a productive member of that clan, that tribe that you're in, your family. And you generally pick up for most part, the belief systems from people that you're closest from, they're with at those formative years. So if that's the case, then that belief system, the self-image, the habits, the routines that you're in, get you to a point where, for most people between the age of 35 and 55, they get to a point where the frustration level is so enormous because they can't seem to go beyond where they are at. So the question is, how do I rise to my full potential as an entrepreneur? And the answer is, do the inner work. And for a lot of entrepreneurs, they're doing the inner work, they're reading the books, classics like Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, which is the best-selling business book of all time, 70 million copies or something like that, created more millionaires than anyone else, any other, well, I'll take that back. The original scriptures probably created more millionaires than any other book ever written. But if you're talking about modern times, that's a business book that was written for business people, for entrepreneurs, and has nothing to do with business, nothing at all. The first two chapters, what is that? The first two chapters are desire and faith. What's faith? Faith's a feeling. How do you describe faith to a blind person? How do you describe it? It's like trying to describe the color red to a blind person. It's a feeling, and it's a sensation. And sensation, as Neville says, sensation precedes manifestation. You have to be in a state of a creative state to develop yourself and your business. And how do you do that? Well, really, if you study how our nervous system works, we have two states of being. We have parasympathetic nervous system that sets us into a state of calm and relaxed, a creative state, or when we activate the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight, flight, or freeze. It's one or the other. And we move in and out of both states during the day and levels of that state during the day. But if you want to connect with the creative side of your being, then one has to learn how to tap into your creative state. They're connected to infinite intelligence, universe, the God of your understanding. That state is when you're in that calm, relaxed state. That's when the ideas start to flow. You start to notice ideas. Most people set a financial goal, and when you set a financial goal, I've done it myself, and we focus on the financial goal rather than saying, okay, I want to earn $1,000 a day. I did that when I was 35, when I lost everything in a failed business. I was a salesman, not particularly good at it because no one taught me how to be a salesman. I just shoved out the door with some technical knowledge on how to refinance a mortgage or set up an ATM contract in a convenience store or something like that. And so I'd go around and do all these sales calls, and I had a financial goal. I had a goal of $1,000 a day. I met some people that were spending $2,000 a week on 2 hours of entertainment. And I thought, if they can do that, surely I can earn $1,000 a day. And that was in 2005. So what happens when you set that, then you can go for a long time thinking, how am I going to earn $1,000 a day? Rather than asking yourself a question, and this is part of how do you rise yourself to full potential as an entrepreneur, you just change the question and say, well, what value can I provide in the world that will be remunerated or paid $1,000 a day? And so what happens is you start to let yourself, in a calm and relaxed way, imagine what that would look like, and the ideas start to come. The coincidences start to happen. The synchronicities of meeting up with certain people start to happen, because what have you done? You've made a decision to change the circumstances that you're in. You have made a decision to shift from your current state of being to the next level of your life. Okay, so simple formula. Thoughts become things, and we create our reality. What does that mean? Well, if you study personal development for any period of time, you'll come to the same conclusion that desire plus non-resistant beliefs equal desired outcome. It's as simple as that. I literally don't have to tell you anything more. If you're searching for the answer, that's it. Okay, but the challenge people have is, how do you decide what you genuinely want? People say, what's my purpose, my spiritual vision for my life? And how do you discern that? Well, there's a process for that, and that's not what I'm going to talk about today. But the next part is, plus, how do you become non-resistant in your belief system? Well, what that means is that your beliefs that you have right now, you're butting up against them, and that's what's causing the frustration, because your operating system is your belief system, and you want to live a life that's outside of your current sphere of what you believe is possible for you. So how do you change that? Well, you make a new decision. You recognize the belief that's holding you back, and then you make a new decision. And then when you do that, we have an automatic system. It's in the science of change, or the science of surprise, which is one of our 7 major emotions. Surprise is an interesting emotion because there's a spark, something happens, then our mind immediately, all our attention goes to that spark, whatever that is, whatever that's happened, and all our attention bears on that, asking one question: is this going to hurt me, harm me, or is this an opportunity? You're trying to find an answer for what has caused that spark, what surprised you. Once you've decided on negative or positive, then your mind goes to work to prove that that is correct. Confirmation bias, it automatically happens. And so what happens is now that idea, that decision you made on that interpretation of that spark, that event, that circumstance that happened right in front of you, or what someone said, you now assigned some interpretation to that, and then confirmation bias goes to prove what your interpretation is correct, and now it becomes a belief. So if you understand how that system works, you can actually use it to your advantage. As an entrepreneur, you can actually become really good at creating your reality faster and faster, making better and better decisions all the time. So the meetings that I have a weekly meeting on a Wednesday. And there's a format that I follow. You can download the workbook that I've put together. And the whole idea with that meeting is to just give you some insight into the system that I use that transformed my life. So I lost a business in Sydney in 2005, and I had nothing. We're brand new back in Australia, no qualifications, no house. And I had to start literally from behind the eight ball because I had debt. I had zero. And I had to learn to use what Napoleon Hill calls faith in chapter 2 and make decisions to work out of that hole that I'd created. Just bad decisions created that hole, and I realized that for all the experience that I'd had experienced before in business, I absolutely had missed the point. I'd missed the key point, and the key point's in awareness of who we are, genuinely who we are. So the Wednesday meeting is going through breaking down this 12-step program that I went through with Bob Proctor that I now coach people through. And there's no charge for the Wednesday meeting, but I'm going through that systematically and giving you absolute tools you can implement in your life to create the paradigm shift that you need to get to your next level. Always, we're all in a journey of transformation all the time. We're all in that journey. So I encourage you to join us on a Wednesday at midday Brisbane time on Zoom. The link's in this Facebook post. And if this is of value to you, please share it with someone. My whole intention is, if we can help individuals in business, I really love the idea of people becoming business owners, entrepreneurs, because we create opportunity for people who don't want to be in a business, because it's not easy being in a business. And the thing is, you're not meant to be doing it on your own. You're not meant to be trying to figure this out on your own. And it all starts with the inner work. And when I worked that out, when I figured out, when Bob Proctor coached me into actually waking up, things changed dramatically. So my wife and I are financially independent now, and we own a couple of properties. And it wasn't because of just brutal hard work or being intelligent. I have no qualifications. And we did work hard because I didn't know some of the information I know now, but we got a massive win. And some people go to work their whole life in first world countries and they don't get the win that we got. And so, I just reiterate, I'm not clever. I just followed what my mentor told me to do, and I was just an intelligent follower. That's all I can claim. And I have an insatiable desire to understand. So I hope to help some people. Not everyone's going to get what I say. Not everyone's going to believe what I say, because it requires an understanding that we're in a game that's much bigger than we even perceive it to be. And we live in a world that is filled with love and opportunity. And it's a paradise. I mean, I'm looking out my window here. we live in paradise. And when we start to see the world from that point of view, if I can change one person or help one person change their mind, then they're going to impact other people. And, you know, the world is just full of this fear-based mentality where there's lack and limitation everywhere. And my message is going to be opposite to that, because it doesn't have to be that way. It's not how we were designed. We bought this idea, and I think, you know, fortunately, the younger generation are saying, "Sod that, we're not interested. We'd prefer to live a more fulfilling life. We'd prefer to live a life that we create for ourselves." And that's very encouraging, because that's when the world will change, and we'll have to deal with less of the massive tragedies that are happening in the world and live from a more love-based paradigm. So I hope to see you. Click on the link below, and like I say, if this resonates with anyone, please share it with them.